There's over $100 million a month coming through this community each and every single month. If you were to add up all the revenue from all the brands that are inside, as you can see, over 400 plus, that is the total amount of revenue that is coming through this community. And as you can see here, this is me, that's Spencer. And I am currently the GOAT on Skool, which is kind of cool. But at the end of the day, I share this with you to hopefully provide some kind of credibility for what I'm about to talk about. And what I'm about to talk about is the one difference between brands that are doing 6-figure months versus brands that are doing 7 and sometimes even 8-figure months. What is the difference? Well, I found that there's actually 2 differences. The first one is that they are able to identify their zone of genius. Now, what is a zone of genius? A zone of genius is the activities that you enjoy doing the most in your business multiplied by the things that drive the highest ROI. So what you want to do is take a look at all the tasks that you do and really sit down and ask yourself, hey, which one of these makes me the most amount of money? And then from there, ask yourself, hey, which one of these do I actually enjoy doing the most? And when you find that intersect, that is your zone of genius. And so the difference between a brand owner who does maybe $50,000 to $100,000 a month versus a brand owner that does $1 million to $10 million a month is that they spend all of their time in their zone of genius. Literally all day long, they wake up and they do the thing that makes them the most amount of money and feels like play. Okay, that is a saying from someone who's a lot smarter than me, Mr. Naval Ravikant, who says you want to find work that feels like play.
I'm always working, but it looks like work to them, but it feels like play to me. And that's how I know no one can compete with me on it, because I'm just playing 16 hours a day. And if they want to compete with me and they're going to work, they're going to lose, because they're not going to do it 16 hours a day, 7 days a week.
If you can do that, which most of these guys have been able to do at this level of millions of dollars a month in sales with their brands, they're just playing all day. And so if you compare that to someone who feels like they have to wake up and grind and just does not look forward to doing the work at all versus someone that is just loving every second of what they're doing, who do you think is going to scale further? Obviously the person who is loving what they're doing. And so here's the thing, and this is why I say there's 2 things that separate a low 6-figure or low 7-figure entrepreneur versus an 8 and 9-figure. And that other thing is that if you are doing something that is high ROI impacting your business, like making ad creatives or script writing or building funnels or testing offers or finding products and building products, whatever that may be, if you don't enjoy doing those things, you know what other really smart business owners do that make tons of money? They find people who have a zone of genius in the thing that they don't. And so what that means is that they are able to go out and find someone who, for example, when it comes to making ad creatives, it feels like play to that person. And as a result, they get very, very competent at that skill. And then all of a sudden, they have someone who is generating a massive ROI in their business and is getting better because they are enjoying what they do. So many small brand owners stay small because of those 2 reasons. Number one, they do not spend their time in the zone of genius. They spend their time firefighting all day, trying to do everything. And each and every single day, they're not actually moving the needle forward because they're just doing enough to get done. And I've been there. It's hard. But the second thing that they do is they hire someone who does not have a zone of genius in the role that they just hired for, meaning that they hire someone who is going to suck in that role. And then as a result, they lose their time that they just tried to buy back by going and having to fix the crappy work that they just hired that person to do. And then sometimes even worse, they don't actually even go and fix it. They just let that person continue to be shit. And at the end of the day, if you look at the brand owners that are very, very, very successful, again, millions of dollars a month, 8 and 9-figure brand owners, they do not tolerate that. And more importantly, again, they value their time more than anything, and they understand their strengths. They understand where they can provide the biggest impact to their business, and that is what they spend all of their time doing. But again, the key here is that these extremely successful entrepreneurs, like the best example I can give you is Alex Hormozi. That guy just loves to write books. He loves to wake up every day and just write and just create masterpieces. That is essentially his zone of genius, is writing. And at the end of the day, guess what? That makes him quite a lot of money, gets him quite a lot of leads, and is a crazy long-term play with these books to help build up his brand and to build up the awareness around what they're doing with investing in companies, etc. Okay? That is an example of someone who it's going to be very hard to compete. Like for me, I really don't like writing. And so if I wanted to try to compete with Alex on writing books, who do you think is going to win? The guy that spends all day long, literally 8 hours plus sometimes per day, doing the thing that he loves to do, or me, someone who doesn't like writing and maybe I spend an hour a day doing it, right? And it sounds obvious, but some of you guys, if you actually reflect and maybe you actually track your time and see where you're spending your time, a lot of you are doing things that number one, you don't like doing, number two, you're not that good at, and then number three, spending time just fixing everything and not actually doing any work in your business that is actually going to help it grow. And so that is the main message of this video. And I'm telling you, I see so many entrepreneurs come through Evolve and come through Origins, which is our newer program. And we actually have massive community of people in there that just give me so much information, so much insight, because I see so many different levels of entrepreneurs. I talk to people that are literally just starting out that don't even have a Shopify store. And I also talk to brands that are literally doing $10 million a month, right? And what I notice after analyzing and looking at them and trying to do more of what the $10 million per month brand owners do and less of what the beginners do is that these guys over here that are doing millions of dollars a month, they value their time, they find their play, they find the highest ROI activities, and they do not tolerate hiring weak people into their company to leverage the other high revenue and high impact roles, okay? Because they know that those roles are important. They are not responsible for those roles because that is not their zone of genius, but they find someone who is in their zone of genius by embracing that role. And so that is what you have to do. Like if you want to scale further, if you want to get to that next level, you have to identify what are the things that have the highest impact on your business, drive the most amount of revenue, and how can you actually make it feel like play? And if you want to make something feel like play, if nothing feels like play to you and all you can think about is like how you just want to go side quests and be on yachts out and wherever, people go on yachts nowadays with a bunch of different dudes, that's another topic. But the point is sometimes you find play by just getting good at something. A lot of the times I tell people like, hey, don't really go for passion, just get good at something, become competent. And when you become good at something, all of a sudden you start to like it, right? And now that doesn't happen for everything, but a lot of the times, if you actually just do something enough times, and that's why I always see all of these entrepreneurs that make ridiculous amounts of money, they just do something for so long that they become really good at it. They make tons of money doing it. And then from there, they just start to enjoy it. And if you enjoy what you do and you also make a lot of money doing it, that is how you become incredibly successful. And like I said, you're not going to be able to compete against somebody who is doing high impact activities that feels like they're just playing a video game versus, you who trying to do high impact activities, but you're having to chase down and deal with your team, or you have to do everything because you tell yourself that nobody can do it as good as you. And then all of a sudden, it just feels like you're grinding every day. It's like, who do you think is going to win? And who do you think is going to scale further? Obviously the guy or the girl in their zone of genius. And so that's the video. That's what I want to talk about, because if you understand this and you understand that you need to value your time and you need to buy back your time with people that will actually respect your time and actually give you your time back rather than having to babysit them and having you jump in and do, their job for them, all of a sudden you're gonna be able to start scaling a lot further. And I can say this firsthand because ever since I decided to make the decision this year to be in my zone of genius, a lot of things have happened. And so I'll leave it there. If you are interested in being a part of this community that generates hundreds of millions of dollars a month in sales and revenue, you guys can go check it out down below. But I don't really care what you do. If anything, I just want you to take away from this video that you need to find your zone of genius. You need to find your play. You need to find the things that drive the highest ROI and the highest impact in your business, and you need to double down on them. And if you do that, hopefully this free video can give you an ROI.